Is the Canon R3 obsolete in 2024? To tell you the truth, I have no effing clue. Why don't I have a clue? I've never laid hands on that camera in my life or used it. I imagine it is not obsolete, and the reason I am making this clickbaity headline is because I am sick and tired of seeing thousands of YouTube thumbnails clogging feeds of photography enthusiasts saying, is XX camera irrelevant? Is XX camera obsolete? Insert year here. Every year we see the same thing. One guy, he puts out a video every year about a particular camera. Is this camera obsolete in 2020? Is it obsolete in 2015? I think he went all the way back to 2014 at the time, criticizing a camera that was produced in 2013. And every year, for whatever reason, he seems to be obsessed with this particular camera or a hatred for it, puts out a video saying, titled, is this camera irrelevant in 20 whatever? And the answer invariably is yes, it's irrelevant. I say no. Cameras seldom lose relevance. Is a 20-year-old camera technically inferior to a contemporary camera? Yes, of course it is. Obsolete? Irrelevant? No. This camera, Canon 81, I got this for my 13th birthday, 1981, 81 program. I would say to a film enthusiast, this camera is just as relevant in 2024 as it was in 1981. It still works. If the camera still works to manufacturer specifications, what's irrelevant about it? That newer models came out? Sure, newer film models came out. Autofocus came out. Still relevant. 2003, my first digital SLR, the old Canon 300D, also known as the Digital Rebel, mass-produced, sub $1,000 DSLR kit, massively successful on the market. I would say it's very cheaply made. I'm sure they made this for a couple bucks. I would never want to drop it. You drop this, I'm sure it's gone. But is it any less good in 2024 than it was in 2003? No, it is not. Right now, if I were to snap a picture with this, I would get the same type of picture I would have gotten back in 2003 with this camera. And I took a lot of pictures with this camera back in that day. What else do I have here to show? Canon 1DX, a heavy monster? Yes, it is. Built like a tank, will literally last forever. Is the technology in this camera inferior to what we have today? Inferior to, yes, autofocus-wise, weight-wise, absolutely. However, it's no less good than it was in 2013. This camera has taken incalculable amounts of pictures and it still thrives. I would never ditch this camera. What I see happening is young photographers or people who have expressed interest in photography, either on YouTube or on Reddit, who are being scared away from photography by people who are espousing a dislike or distaste for older cameras for no other reason than a newer model camera has come out. I have an R6 II, a Canon R6. The other day I saw a video, is the Canon R6 still good in 2024? The narrator said no. Why? His explanation? Why? He had perfect rationalization. It can't be good anymore because Canon produced the R6 II. Does the R6 II have a few more megapixels? Sure it does. Has the autofocus been slightly improved? Sure. Is that any reason for a person to want to sell a perfectly good camera, take a financial loss, and invest in a new one? If you have the money, I guess, but a lot of people do not. That's why when I see these YouTube comments and I see these Reddit replies, a lot of people state that they have a budget. I have $400 or $500. What can you recommend? Some nice person like myself will come along and suggest a person gets an older DSLR, to which inevitably a reply will come, "That's the dumbest advice I've ever heard. You need to go out and buy a Canon EOS R3 or a Sony Alpha 1 or the latest Fujifilm 100 megapixel camera. If you don't do that, you won't take good pictures." And I hate to say it, but this appears to be a pervasive mentality on YouTube and other forms of media out there, Reddit. Why? I do not know. I don't believe all these people are getting kickbacks, enormous kickbacks from manufacturers to push these cameras and try to get people to either not buy gear or ditch gear that they already have. Many of us have a lot of gear. We have gas. We buy gear. We know a little bit about it. But for people out there that are looking to get away from cell phone photography and they're exposed to these videos and they become depressed or dejected after hearing somebody say, "No, don't spend any money on a used Canon 5D Mark II DSLR. That camera sucks in 2024. Well, that's just plain bullshit. This picture, taken last year, was taken on a old Canon 5D Mark II. I ruined the picture because it's got torn, but 5D Mark II. Gear does not become obsolete, irrelevant, or less good just because a YouTuber posits it. Cheers.